In this video we're going to take a look at the Nokia 301. This is one of Nokia's latest mobile phone or feature phone products, so a bit of a contrast to the usual smartphone videos that I do. Fairly standard Nokia box here, the usual kind of indication of key functions, on illustrations on the box itself, usual recyclable box on the back here, icons indicating features, but also note this is the colours that the device comes in. So let's take a look inside, do an unboxing. There we go, there's the device itself. In this case it's one of the cyan colour variants. Looking at the box itself, you can see there's instructions on how to take the back off, put the battery in, where the SIM card goes. Talking of which, there's the battery itself. Come back to that, we'll need that in just a moment. Then there's the quick start guide, warranty information, and in the bottom there is the plug. It's a micro USB connection, you can see that there. Standard now rather than the old 2mm or 3mm style, and then a fairly standard headset. Okay, so that's box contents. Let's go back to the device itself here. Okay, we're going to just take the back off and get the battery and get it started up. You can see here's the battery. It's 1200 milliamp hour capacity, gives a very good battery life. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at a mobile phone product rather than a smartphone, because there's still a lot of people that like this kind of product, the very traditional mobile phone with the 12 keys here on the front and a kind of the classic form factor, but it's a surprisingly capable device, as we'll see. We'll get that switched on and I'll talk about some of the other hardware features here. On the front here it's a 2.4 inch QVGA screen, that's 240 by 320 pixels, so obviously this is a real step down from a smartphone in many ways. On the back, 3.2 megapixel camera, surprisingly capable actually. It produces some pretty decent results, but obviously it isn't as good as the high-end smartphones. And I keep talking about smartphones, and I really shouldn't be, because this is a mobile phone product in its own right, and that's reflected in the cost. I picked up this one for about £80 in the UK. Nokia have a price before tax and subsidies of about €65, so obviously much better value. Now you can get smartphones, particularly Android powered ones, for that kind of price, but you're talking about a different kind of product here, and in some ways it's going the way of the dinosaurs, gradually being replaced by smartphones. But I think there's a place for this, both as a primary device for a certain type of user, but also especially as a secondary device, maybe using it with a tablet, or when you want to have battery life last a long time. You've probably just been admiring the design here. It's very solidly built. You know, there is a little bit of give in some of the back here, but in general for a device price like this, it's excellent quality. I just want to compare it actually here with the Nokia Lumia 900, not because the features are similar, just the design. You can see it comes from the same family here. It's not just about the colour, it's all about the shaping of the device. Notice, you know, the detailing around the camera, for example, but also on the front, you know, the similar Nokia curves, you know, some of those traditional features. So now I'll unlock the screen and take a closer look at the device itself. Now you can see here we've got this kind of traditional Series 40 start screen. You can then switch into the menu where you get the list of apps and additional things. Let's just go back to this start screen. You can see the key functionality available. If you start dialing, you can make a phone call that way, or you can go into names, which is all your contacts listed there, and back out of that. But you can see here there's also the possibility of doing various functions from here. You can see that's going into the calendar and seeing my next upcoming appointment. I'm going to walk the dog. And then there's a shortcut to My Music as well as radio. So some of the key features of the phone. Similarly at the bottom here we've kind of got some shortcut icons. That's for the camera. Then there's one for WhatsApp. That's instant messaging. Mail for exchange. That's obviously for email, but we'll also do contacts and calendar if you wish. Nokia browser. That's for internet. And then store for downloading additional apps. So actually you can access many of the key functions of the phone straight from this kind of starting screen. And then if you want to get more details, you go into this menu. You can see here there's, you know, entries for the calendar, contacts and music applications, which you could access from the main screen, but also additional ones like photos, more apps, mail, that's for email. Let's just go down and have a look at apps, because this is one of the things about a mobile phone. You don't usually associate it with apps, but in fact you can install apps from the Nokia store. It will support Java apps and Series 40 web apps. Quite a number already pre-installed. You can see eBuddy, Facebook, Goal, there's Mail for Exchange again, Nokia Nearby, that's kind of a location app that will show you nearby places of interest. There's no GPS inside here, but it's all based on network location information. Various social accounts there, Weather Channel, Twitter, WhatsApp, World Clock. That's those are all my apps. Those are third-party apps. There's also some ones that Nokia pre-installed here. You can look here into games, Asphalt 6, Flight Control, Let's Golf, various others, Midnight Pool. Actually, there's a large number of things pre-installed, so you get a lot of value in this phone, as well as kind of the traditional Series 40 apps like Alarm Clock, Calculator, Gallery, Voice Recorder, To-Do List, Notes. Now, to store all of these apps and the information that goes with them, you have 256 megabytes of internal memory. If we just turn the device to the side here, you can see there's a micro SD card slot. So there we go. That's a quick run through the Nokia 301. It's a very capable mobile phone device. Now, you might be wondering who would want this sort of device. Well, I think there's a lot of people who would just want the traditional mobile phone and will find this a very attractive device. The build quality, the price point, but actually some of the features available, more than you would expect on a device like this. But there's also arguably a market for people having this as a second device, maybe to complement their smartphone or to take away at the weekend. And there's one really big reason for that. That's battery life. This thing, it's got an official talk time of 20 hours and a standby time of 940 hours. That's 39 days. In practice, of course, you won't quite manage it, but it will certainly do a week without being recharged with relatively light usage, and maybe even a little more. And that contrasts wildly with the modern smartphone, which does need charging every day. As I say, also just looking at the design, kind of the feel in the hand, it's a really quite attractive device. I think of all the mobile phones, and I mean mobile phones deliberately rather than smartphones, this is probably the best one you can buy in that traditional form factor. It may be dying in some ways, being replaced by the smartphone everywhere, but the Nokia 301 I think is going to win a lot of fans and is a very attractive device.